It's good to see everyone again. It's been a little while. I hope everyone is taking care of themselves and staying safe right now. As you know, we signed 18 outstanding players during the first signing period in December. Today, I'm very excited to announce the signing of wide receiver Keon Coleman to our recruiting class. Keon is a very special player. He's tall, he's long. He has a very good build for a receiver, very smooth and athletic, strong release off the ball. He gets open with speed, quickness, size, instincts, and awareness. He has the athletic ability to outjump defenders for the ball. He has outstanding ball skills, very natural and confident hands. He has a wide catch radius, very friendly to the quarterback. He's very effortless in his pass routes and his ability to go and attack the football. He can run the entire route tree. He can play inside or outside. His upside is through the roof. He's also planning on playing basketball. He's holding uh, several Power Five basketball offers as well. He's a three-sport athlete: football, basketball, and track. He's a two-time All-State selection. As a junior, he had over 1,100 yards and 22 touchdowns on 35 catches. Is All-State in basketball, averaging 30 points a game this season. He scored 63 points in a game last month. He averaged 26 points a game as a junior and 23 points a game as a sophomore. An outstanding athlete, and he was a high priority target for us. Also, want to introduce some of our mid-year transfers who joined the program last month. Anthony Russo, the quarterback. He has 1 year of eligibility remaining. He's got a big arm. He's tall. He can make every throw. Good ball placement and accuracy. Has clutch production. He's confident in the pocket. Has very good pocket awareness and instincts, and has all the traits to be an NFL quarterback. Started 26 games at Temple and set the record for most completions at Temple. Uh, Kenneth Walker, running back, he has 3 years remaining. Wake Forest, good size running back, has a very good build. He's already been very impressive in the weight room and is on his way to set some records there, walking in the door. Uh, Good bulk. He has good contact strength. He plays with a low center of gravity. He doesn't go down on first contact. Extremely patient runner that has good vision and instincts. He attacks the line of scrimmage and shows burst through the hole. He shows acceleration when he gets to the second level, and he really fights for extra yards to finish runs. He also has value in the pass game and is a reliable receiving threat. Jared Horst, O line, he has at least 2 years remaining. Arkansas State, tall, long, athletic, plays with a little nasty to him, a lot of nasty. Shows toughness and physicality both in the run and the pass game. Good lateral quickness and range, good balance and body control in space, and shows production on the second level as a blocker. Has the strength to anchor and the footwork to slide and adjust. Will compete immediately for a starting position. Drew Jordan, defensive end, 1 year remaining from Duke. Good size, solid frame, good build and bulk and strength, good initial quickness and burst off the edge. Plays with a very good motor, balance and body control. Is a smart player that shows good instincts and awareness as a rusher. Knows when to counter back at the quarterback depth. Can chase down ball carriers from the backside. Will give us another pass rush option and really upgrade us at that position. Kendall Brooks, defensive back, at least 2 years remaining. North Greenville University, um, very good size DB, aligning primarily at safety. He is smart, he's tough, he shows burst to close when coming downhill, and is a good open field physical wrap tackler. Shows versatility in both The pass as a pass defender and a run stopper, does not back down for contact. He does have contact toughness, and you can see his range and pursuit. High end special teams value as a four core special teams player. Spencer Rowland, a walk on. He's got 1 year remaining. Comes from Wheaton College. His coach played for me in Jacksonville. Uh, Aligns as a corner, has good ball skills and instincts, shows toughness, does not back down from contact, shows production in both man and zone coverage. Highly competitive kid who will fight and high point the ball at the catch point. Shows aggressiveness and press coverage and press man coverage, and has the speed to recover. Good awareness and instincts, and knows spacing as a zone defender, which is important. Shows burst out of his breaks, and can physically wrap up and make space tackles. Again, he was coached by Pete Ernesagen, uh, Petey Ice, who I coached in Jacksonville, and Spencer's actually going to be in med school here. Also, in regards to our staff, last week I made some announcements. I promoted Cap, Coach Chris Kapilovic, to the assistant head coach, which he deserves. He's a very reliable, influential on the staff, and I trust him on and off the field. He does a lot for us here. And Travaris Tillman as the cornerbacks coach. I've known T from our time at Georgia. He was with me for 3 years there. Played at Georgia Tech. Played I think 7 years in the NFL. Played for Coach Saban. Knows the language. Knows the technique. Was with me at Colorado. Is going to continue to do a great job here. His focus will be the corners. Also named Coach Barnett, the secondary coach, and his title was corners last season. In addition to our on the field staff, we also welcome Amber Reinstein to East Lansing. She's our head football dietitian. She works with football only. I want to go back to Harlan. You know, I really believe in having the defensive backs meet together as much as possible. Um, it's very similar to the offensive line. I've never really been comfortable in a situation where the corners and the safeties met in separate rooms all the time. So, but there are times when it makes sense for them to split up in the classroom. You know, obviously in practice and in the drill work they have to split up. So when all the defensive backs are together, Harlan will run the show. When they split up, if and when they do split up, then Travaris will take the corners and Harlan will take the safeties. I also will be pitching in the secondary as well. I would also like to welcome Dr. Ashley Baker to Michigan State. Dr. Baker is our new Chief Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Officer. Since her arrival on campus, I've had the opportunity to meet with her on a regular basis, and I believe she's a wonderful addition to our university and to our athletic department. Also want to thank Mike Tressel for for everything he's done for this program for the last 14 seasons, and I wish him all the best at Cincinnati. I've known him for a long time. He was a graduate assistant for me at Ohio State, and he's a great professional. Our team is working hard right now in our conditioning program with Coach Novak and his staff. You know, we're looking to gain ground, um, and this year, and it starts in the weight room. I believe that your team is built in the weight room. The competitiveness, the grit, the determination, you know, the strain, you know, the toughness, mental and physical, you know, burst, explosion, you know, bigger, faster, stronger, you know, camaraderie, team chemistry, all that starts in the weight room. And so that's where we are in terms of our program, uh, strength and conditioning, running and lifting. Um, it's it's in full swing, and I'm very impressed with what we're doing so far in the weight room. Also want to thank our medical staff. Sally and Dr. Covan, they continue to work with us to help keep our players and our staff safe. We're still testing and just really giving us the opportunity to get ready for spring ball, which we did not have a year ago. With this being signing day, I want to thank everyone on our staff who helped put this recruiting class together, especially in such a challenging year. To our academic and compliance staff who have really pitched in, all of our coaches, all of our recruiting staff, everyone worked extremely hard to bring this latest class of Spartans to East Lansing, these Spartan Dogs. This was a national class with players from 11 states. Our recruiting brand is strong across the country, and we continue to go out and find the best players in the nation to fit this program. We're already off to a good start on the 22s and the 23s. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Matt Charbonneau, the Detroit News.
Hey, Mel. Good to see you. You always talk about recruiting never stops. And I think today is kind of an interesting example. I'm not sure how much you can talk about guys that didn't end up here, but when you have a day where you're thinking it's going to go one way, ends up another way, is that just kind of life in recruiting? And at what point did you realize you had a good shot at Keon, and when did you know that was going to happen?
Yeah, I'm usually never really surprised in recruiting. Usually you know who you're going to get and who you're not going to get ahead of time, because we're in constant communication with the players and with the coaches. But obviously, we're not allowed to make comments about players and unless they're signed until they're signed. We've never gotten off of Keon. Even when he committed to Kansas, we wished him well, but asked him if it was okay for us to continue to recruit him. He said that it was, and we stayed in constant communication, and it was a relentless effort to continue to put our best foot forward and continue to recruit him. And at the end of the day, he felt like this was the best place for him.
How much did Tom and his staff help out in that? Or, obviously being a two-sport player, how much were they involved?
Tom was very instrumental. He's very instrumental, and we have a history of two-sport athletes. We have a history of football players also playing basketball, so that really helped.
Thanks, Mel.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question is from Matt Wenzel with MLive.
Hey, Mel, real quick, do you expect to add any more recruits to the 2021 signing class, or do you think you guys are pretty much set right now?
Yeah, we still have more initials available to us, so we're going to look to add some players to start here in June out of the portal. Ideally, we'll get them in June, but we'll be adding players all the way up until we start fall camp. And so we're not done. We're not even close to being done. We got a lot of work to do still with this class.
And just kind of a quick roster type question. I mean, you said recently Matt Allen will be back for another year. We saw social media posts from Matt Coughlin, Drew Beasley, and Jacob Panasiuk indicating the same. Those three all planning on coming back?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
that's the plan.
And then a half dozen others: AJR Curry, Jordan Reed, Larice Nelson, Trey Person, Luke Campbell, Matt Dotson. Any of those six guys you think are going to come back for another year?
Yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen with Luke. I would love to have him back. Dotson is back with us. For sure, those guys. Who else did you have on the list?
Our Curry and Reed.
Yep.
Nelson, Person.
Yeah, I mean those some of those guys will be back, some of them won't be, but AJ is obviously a guy that we like, and so we've had some movement, but that's not unusual.
Thanks, Mel.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question is from Chris Solar, the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Mel, good to see you. I guess can you kind of break down some of the intricacies and maybe nuances of trying to build a program from the portal versus building it from the traditional high school that people know, and kind of have followed for decades? I mean, this new era, how do you approach it? I mean, and how have you looked at any other programs to do that, or are you just kind of doing that internally to build your own strategy?
Yeah, I mean, the portal is not entirely new, and transfers are not entirely new, and so I've had experience with this for a number of years, and it's just more prevalent, and there's just more guys in the portal now. I mean, there's over 10,000 players there, and there's guys hitting the portal every single day. I mean, I get texts and emails and phone calls I mean, I get several calls a day about guys that are in the portal, and looking for a home. And so, we've structured I've talked about this before. We've structured our personnel department to be able to handle that, to be able to focus on the players in the portal and junior college players, and also to be able to focus on high school players. And so, it's something that is here to stay. I'm comfortable with it. Um, there's opportunities for us to improve our team, and that's what recruiting is all about. So we embrace it.
And how much does the immediate eligibility for next year help you right now to be able to know that those guys are able to come in and play and not have to sit out a year?
I think it's important, and it helps. And when you're looking for immediate impact players, we take that into consideration. I think players also take that into consideration when they decide to go in the portal.
Recently, you mentioned that Muhsin Muhammad had a role with Kendall Brooks in Michigan State. Can you expand on that a little bit, with him coming in as a transfer?
Yeah, he does. He has some ties with him, and obviously, we our staff has connections all over the country. And that's important in recruiting, to be able to use the contacts that you have to make sure that you get the information that you need on players, and we cast a very, very broad net, all over the country, to make sure that we can get the best fit for our players. The question was asked previously about the portal and transfers, and how does that you know how does that how does that work in recruiting and putting together a team. And I want to emphasize this: there's one thing to collect players, it's another thing to build a football team. We're not just in the business of just collecting guys. And so, we're looking for players, that are a good fit for us, whether they're high school players or they're transfers, from 4-year guys or JUCO guys. Every good player is not a fit for us. And first and foremost, I want them they need to love football, and they need to want to be here. Obviously, we're going to recruit them, and we're going to put our best foot forward, show them everything that we have to offer. At the end of the day, that student athlete, he's got to want to be here. He's got to want to be a part of our culture and what we're building here. And so, everyone, that's in our program now, everyone that we bring into the program, everyone that we've signed, whether they're transfers, high school guys, they love football, and they want to be here. And that's tremendously important.
With the portal transfers, can you put a number on how many you expect between now and August? You mentioned you'll be very busy in it, but can you put a number on that? And how do you possibly go through 10,000 guys? I know you probably want to. You got Kendall out of a school that a lot of people would not have found and noticed. So I'm sure you want to go through all 10,000. How do you handle all that?
Yeah, well, we have a staff, and we work on it every single day. And we have criteria for players. We have positions of need. So we don't have to look at 10,000 players. We have a way to whether they're measurables or height, weight, speed, play time, you know, we have ways to really kind of sift through those and kind of narrow it down to guys that will fit, you know, the profile of what we're looking for our football team, and that's really it's a full-time job. I mean, that's a lot of hard work, but you know, we're dedicated to making sure that we do everything we can to bring the best student athletes here. They can help us win on and off the field.
You don't want to say a number on how many you might be bringing in before the season, is that?
Yeah, I mean, we've still got a number of initials left, you know, so you know, give or take, you know, 9 or so possibly. It could be a little less, you know. We'll have to see on that, but you know, we're not done.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. But you know, it's just all about communication. I mean, I was here when Lorenzo Guest played football and basketball here, and so he's going to be a great resource for Keon. When I've had players when I was at Alabama and when I was at Georgia who played football and ran track, and you know, we were able to work that out. You know, most notably, you know, Miko Hardman, the kid that I recruited to Georgia, who's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. His second one was, you know, played football, and he also ran track. And we got Adam Burkhorse on our team now, who plays football and also plays baseball. And so it's just it's all about communication, getting out the calendar, mapping things out, and the key is to make sure that the player never gets caught in the middle. We want to make sure that the student athlete doesn't feel conflicted. So, you know, we have to, our programs have to work together and as a team and do what's best for the student athlete. And so I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
And if I could, going back to Travares as well, just as you evaluate your options for that spot, what was it about him that rose him to the top? And you know, on today, I guess it's relevant. You know, what do you see in him as a recruiter, as potential there?
Yeah, you know, I've known him for, you know, he's been with me for 5 years, and so, you know, 3 years at Georgia, you know, he's coached in some big games. He knows me. He understands recruiting. He's got a lot of experience at the highest level. Again, he played at Georgia Tech, was a great player. Played in the NFL for, I believe, seven seasons for a couple of different teams. And so he's got a wealth of knowledge. He understands technique and fundamentals. He's from the state of Georgia. He has excellent recruiting ties in the South. Georgia is obviously a place where we spend a lot of time recruiting, and we have a good relationship, and it's important for someone in that role to be very comfortable with me being in the meeting room and around the drill work on the field, because you know, I'm going to be there.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Lindsey Huddleston.
Hey, Mel, good to see you. It's been a whirlwind for you since your plane touched down. I'm just wondering, have you had a moment to reflect now that the season is over and you've been able to step away? And I'll throw this other one in there. Do you have any advice for your co-recruiter over in that building 2 doors over from you with what's going on with their season right now?
I've had a little bit of time to reflect, you know, but you know, not a lot. You know, I'm really just, you know, looking to gain ground and move forward. You know, it has been a little bit of a whirlwind, but I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot, and I'm really excited about our future. And you know, I love the activity. I love the fast pace. You know, I love the challenges that are presented, you know, each and every day. You know, just really, you know, navigating COVID is still a challenge. You know, for our program for football. I mean, we're working out every day. I mean, I got 100 some guys here, and 50 plus staff that are that are working every day, and we're trying to stay COVID free and trying to stay safe, and our doctors and our trainers and medical staff have done a great job with that, and the best advice I can give is to do the best that you can, and try to follow the protocols, and be consistent and firm with those best you can. But it's you can do everything right. You can do everything right and still have issues with COVID. That's the nature of the pandemic, and so it's a daily challenge, and it's top of mind. I mean, every single day.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome, Lindsay. Thank you.
Next question is from Joe Dandrin at the State News.
Hey Mel, hope you're doing well.
Thanks, Joe.
So you've got a guy like Anthony Russo who, 30 plus starts at Temple, and then you've got a new guy like Hamp Fay coming in. I guess between the two of them both playing the quarterback position, has anything surprised you about either of them, as they both have been part of that early enrollee group? And I guess has anything really stuck out with Russo because he's got quite a bit of experience coming in?
Yeah, no surprises. Again, we spent a lot of time on Hamp and recruiting him and getting to know him, and so we knew what he was going to be walking in the door. And then obviously Russo, we know quite a bit about him, and he has a body of work, at the college level, and so there's really no surprises there. Both of those guys are big, strong guys that have cannons, and they can sling it.
And kind of as a follow that, had being an early enrollee, someone like Hampton, just learning the playbook, kind of getting adjusted to everything, and just how much is that going to help him kind of going forward?
Yeah, it helps quite a bit, because you get a chance to learn the playbook. You get a chance to get to know the staff, get indoctrinated to the strength and conditioning program, also nutrition. And academically, you get a chance to get your feet on the ground, and it's an opportunity to get off to a great start academically without the pressures of having to play a game. So you get a spring, you get 15 practices, and then you get a summer program where we install and we lift and we run, and then you still get fall camp to really get the install really a third time, all that before you really have to play a game. And so, if you can come here early, you can get a leg up.
Thanks, Mel.
You're welcome.
Next question is from Eli McCown of the State News.
Hi, Mel. I'm going to kind of follow up with Joe here a little bit. With Cameron Allen, kind of the same question. What have you kind of seen from him in these early workouts, and how impressed have you kind of been with him so far?
Yeah, Cam is good. Cam has done a good job. I didn't mention Cam or Mike Gravely, but Cam has got really good size. He's got good ball skills. He looks like he belongs here. And so when you see him lined up with the rest of those guys in the strength and conditioning program, he does not look out of place. And so I'm glad that he's here. Michael Gravely is a first team, all-state performer from Cleveland. I've had a lot of success from his high school. He's here working as well, mid-year, getting his feet on the ground academically and in the weight room and strength and conditioning. And so, all these guys, have an opportunity to play early.
Thanks, Mel.
Our next question is from Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Hi, Mel. I'm going to go back to Keon a little bit here. So how important was it for him to be able to play basketball as well as football? Those conversations, because you mentioned that he had several offers from other Power 5 schools to play basketball. So how instrumental, you mentioned Izzo is instrumental, but how important was that to him to be able to play basketball?
It's very important. You can, if you go on YouTube or go on Twitter, and check out some of his basketball highlights, you can see why. I mean, he's a legitimate basketball player. I mean, he can really light it up out there, and he's a two sport athlete. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of those guys out there, that can do it at the Power 5 level, but he's certainly a player that can do that. So it was extremely important.
And how do you think too that will help kind of what you're trying to build at Michigan State in terms of the athleticism and the player that you're looking for, that a guy can do both of that?
Yeah, first of all, we're looking for guys that love football. And if you love football, I probably like you. And he is a football player that plays basketball. And so, but we want guys that are athletic, multi-sport guys. I just think that it helps. I love guys that play multiple sports. And if you can play two sports at the Power 5 level, you're a heck of an athlete. And those are the type of guys that we're looking for. I was just talking to Coach Cap yesterday. We were looking at a player, and he said, "Oh, and he's a wrestler." I said, "Cap, I've never struck out on a wrestler that's a football player ever, whether it was a recruiting or in the draft." And so that was, to me, that was a factor that made me want this player even more, because he was a wrestler as well.
And then I have one quick follow, a different one if I can, but it is Black History Month, and we are working on a special with Maya Washington's documentary that she put together about Duffy Doherty and his integration strategies. How important is that for college football and what it means, the landscape these days, that what Duffy was able to do?
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, if you go back and you look, it's all about opportunity, providing opportunities, and at that point in time, it takes a lot of courage and intestinal fortitude to do that, and to maybe go against the grain and do something that's uncommon. And so and those players and those coaches have really paved the way for in a lot of ways for where we are here today. And so I'm grateful for that. It's a very very important part of the MSU history.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Our next question is from Jim Comparoni with Spartan Magazine.
Sorry for the delay there. Hey, Mel, recently you mentioned that Muhsin Muhammad had a role with Kendall Brooks in Michigan State. Can you expand on that a little bit with him coming in as a transfer?
Yeah, he does. He has some ties with him, and obviously, our staff has connections all over the country, and that's important in recruiting, to be able to use the contacts that you have to make sure that you get the information that you need on players, and we cast a very, very broad net, all over the country, to make sure that we can get the best fit for our players. The question was asked previously about the portal and transfers, and how does that work in recruiting and putting together a team. And I want to emphasize this. There's one thing to collect players. It's another thing to build a football team. We're not just in the business of just collecting guys. And so we're looking for players that are a good fit for us, whether they're high school players or they're transfers from 4-year guys or JUCO guys. Every good player is not a fit for us. And first and foremost, I want them to love. They need to love football, and they need to want to be here. Obviously, we're going to recruit them, and we're going to put our best foot forward. Show them everything that we have to offer. At the end of the day, that student athlete, he's got to want to be here. He's got to want to be a part of our culture and what we're building here. And so everyone that's in our program now, everyone that we bring into the program, everyone that we've signed, whether they're transfers, high school guys, they love football and they want to be here, and that's tremendously important.
With the portal transfers, can you put a number on how many you expect between now and August? You mentioned you'll be very busy in it, but can you put a number on that? And how do you possibly go through 10,000 guys? I know you probably want to. You got Kendall out of a school that a lot of people would not have found and noticed. So I'm sure you want to go through all 10,000. How do you handle all that?
Yeah, well, we we have a staff, and we work on it every single day. And there's we have criteria for players. We have positions of need. So we don't have to look at 10,000 players. We have a way to whether they're measurables or height, weight, speed, play time. Those, we have ways to really kind of sift through those and kind of narrow it down to guys that will fit the profile of what we're looking for our football team. And that's really it's a full-time job. I mean, that's a lot of hard work, but we're dedicated to making sure that we do everything we can to bring the best student athletes here that can help us win on and off the field.
You don't want to say a number on how many you might be bringing in before the season, is that?
Yeah, I mean, we've still got a number of initials left, so give or take, 9 or so, possibly. It could be a little less. We'll have to see on that, but we're not done.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We have time for a few more. We'll go to Jeff Seidel, the Detroit Free Press.
Yeah, thank you. I was just curious about, I don't know the rules with transfer portal and COVID. How can they come on campus, and at a time of COVID, how complicated are those visits?
Well, we're in a dead period in recruiting, so we can't host recruits on campus. We can't leave campus to recruit. Some of these guys that get reported mid-year, and they checked into the dorms. When I met them, that was the first time I met them face to face. So it's a challenge to recruit during this COVID time. Now, obviously, it's a free country. If a kid wants to go on his own and explore a campus, and just kind of try to get the lay of the land and see some buildings and the perimeter and and the outside of buildings, and just try to get a feel for the environment. Obviously their players and their parents are allowed to do that, but we're not allowed to. At this point, we haven't been able to host anyone. Okay. And so everything that we've done from a recruiting standpoint has been virtual.
The other question I had is a big picture question. Where would you assess where you guys are basically a year in?
The culture is taking hold, and we're cementing that culture every single day. A culture of accountability, attention to detail, sense of urgency, compete, be unselfish, team oriented, have a chip on your shoulder, don't expect anyone to give you anything, and we're not about entitlement. And so, that's where we are. And so we've gone through a season. We've evaluated the roster, and we're doing everything we can to improve our roster and add to the players that we have. But that's where we are. We need to gain ground, and I used the phrase and hashtag gain ground because we're not where we need to be. I think that's obvious to everyone. We've got some catching up to do, and so that's what this time is for. Scheme evaluation, offense, defense, and special teams is ongoing, as we speak. And then recruiting never stops. We need to get bigger and faster and stronger in the weight room. Our nutrition needs to ramp up, and we're doing that. And we're in the process of building our football team, but it starts with culture, and that's something that we hammer every single day. And we've made tremendous progress since last February. But there's still a lot of ground to gain. We got a lot of work to do.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
We have time for a couple more. We'll go to Matt Wenzel with them live.
And you kind of briefly touched on this a minute ago and talking about meeting some of these guys for the first time. How you've been doing this for a long time. How odd is it to recruit these guys and all of a sudden they're just there? It goes from Zoom to you're on campus and they're enrolled in classes. And does that require maybe a little extra having, whether it's you or other guys, kind of helping these guys get settled into, for some of these people, campus they've never even been to before?
Yeah, I mean it's somewhat new. I mean it happens. It's happened in the past. Occasionally, you have some international players. Sometimes it happens with those guys. You get some of the specialists, the kickers and the punters. Sometimes they come. Some of the Aussies, they come and maybe it's communication on WhatsApp and maybe some texts and some phone calls, but you really don't see them until they hit campus. So there's just more of that. But onboarding these guys is very important. And so with Darian Harris and all of our departments, recruiting, academics, that first day that they get here, checking into the housing and getting the IDs and campus tours, making sure they know where their resources are. The onboarding process is critically important because you need to get off to a good start, especially academically. And so, with our academic support center, our strength and conditioning coaches, Darian Harris with his crew, our recruiting staff and our coaches, we've really just tried to make sure that these guys get off to a good start, and so they can hit the ground running. And so, so far so good.
And quick follow, obviously your schedule has been set for quite some time, but as we saw this year, things can change pretty quickly. I believe the Michigan game, obviously going there 2 years in a row, Indiana coming to you guys 2 years in a row. The Big Ten previously said they wouldn't obviously make opponents play 3 years in a row in one location. When do you anticipate a schedule being finalized, or have you got word from the Big Ten on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the exact date. It's not something that I'm really concerned about. The schedule is going to be the schedule. We'll do advanced scouting reports on the teams that we're going to play, and then whether it's home or away or whoever it is, we're going to play the schedule and we're going to get after it. So it's whenever it hits, and then we'll be ready to go from there.
Thanks, Mel.
Yeah.
We have time for two more. We'll go to Chris Solari, the Detroit Free Press, and wrap it up with Matt Charbonneau. Chris?
Kind of a two-part deal coming off of what Matt said. With the schedule for the spring, kind of, I guess, where do you go from the off-season conditioning, out-of-season conditioning to actually transitioning into getting a spring practice? When's that transition made?
Yeah, we're going to have 8 weeks of strength and conditioning, and then that'll lead us right into spring ball. We'll have 15 spring practices. Hopefully a spring game will be practice 15, and then we'll go into our summer program.
Do you, with that, do you anticipate getting back to the testing regimen you guys were doing this fall, or will that be a separate situation from how that was?
I'm not sure if the Big Ten testing will be involved in our spring practices, but we're currently testing now. Outside of that, the Big Ten testing that we were engaged in during the season.
And as the final part of it, in hindsight, looking back, how much did COVID affect you guys in terms of the big picture of the team throughout the course of the season? And do you feel like it was the right decision to go ahead and play in the fall?
Yeah, we found out a lot about our team, and COVID was a challenge for all of us. And so, you know, we were very fortunate to be able to practice and to play. I said that every single week during the season because we wanted to coach and we wanted to play, and we were able to get that done, and we were able to do that in a safe manner. And so, from my point of view, it was a very productive, and we got a lot out of it.
Final question will go to Matt Charbonneau, the Detroit News.
Yeah, Mel, I wanted to ask you real quick about running backs. Obviously, you have one in this class. You brought one in as a transfer, another one potentially. We haven't seen a lot of movement in the portal of guys going out. That's going to be a crowded room at this point. How important is this time right now into spring practice and that room and that position kind of sorting itself out?
Yeah, well, we want to be able to run the football, and we got to have backs, and we need to have competition at positions, and that's what we're going to have at the running back spot. Again, we don't have a sense of entitlement. It's compete to play, compete in the weight room, compete in the drills, everything is a competition, and we're going to play the best players, but we need to be able to run the football. We need to be able to get tough yards. We need to be able to be physical. We need to be able to pick up the blitz. And we need backs. And we need a stable of backs. And so, and the goal is your practices, are harder than your games. And so, the more guys that we can get in here that can compete at a high level, the more competitive our practices are going to be. And we practice a lot more than we play, and that's how you get good. That's how you develop your team, is through competitive practices. And so, their running back room, obviously is, it's going to be crowded, but pretty much every position that we have every room is going to be crowded. It's going to be competitive, and that's where we need to have it.
Thank you, Mel. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. We really appreciate your time and providing an update on the team today.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the week. Stay safe. Go green.